Hi, boys and girls. I'm so proud of the hard work you're doing on your informational books. So today we want to kind of make our informational book more interesting by adding either exclamation marks or questions. And I was noticing in some of the books that I really like, some of the chapters really had some questions in them. One example was this dolphin book. And look at the title. The title has an exclamation, doesn't it? And that shows that you're excited about your topic. Like this chapter is, what does a dolphin eat? So the author decided that each chapter is a question. We can add questions in our chapters and exclamations, and that makes things more interesting or exciting. So I'm going to show you how you can do just that. I'm going to go to my weed chapter on weeding your garden. And I'm going to look for a spot where I can add an exclamation or a question and kind of make it sound a little bit more exciting, more like I'm talking about it. Let me turn this a little bit more. There we go. So I'm going to reread it a minute, and then I'm going to think about where I can add those things. Make sure to pull the weeds out of your garden once a week. You must pull weeds because they can take away sun and water from your plants. You need to know what's a weed and what's a good plant. One way is to use a marker, like a stick, to mark your where your plants are. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is think about, I thought of a couple places while I was reading, so I reread it. Now I'm looking for places where I can add exclamation marks or questions. And I thought about here, I was talking about when because you should pull weeds because they take away sun and water from your plants. What if I said, weeds can kill your plants with an exclamation mark? I'm going to add that in. Weeds can kill your plants. Now it sounds like, oh my gosh, weeds can kill them. I really have to pay attention to weeds. Then I thought in here, I said, you need to know what's a weed and what's a good plant. And then I might add in a question here, how do you tell? Question mark. How do you tell? So boys and girls, I'm going to reread it now to you and show you how just adding that little exclamation mark and that question in there gave it a lot more personality and a lot more zip and interest. Okay, weeds. Make sure to pull the weeds out of your garden once a week. You must pull most of the weeds because they take away sun and water from your plants. Weeds can kill your plants. You need to know what's a weed and what is a good plant. How do you tell the difference? One way is to use a marker like a stick to mark where your plants are. All right, boys and girls, did you see how just adding a little question in there and adding an exclamation in there gave it a lot more pep? I had some really fact sentences, some plain sentences, and that kind of mixed it up a little bit. So I'd like you to go to at least one or two of your chapters today, find a spot where you can say something exciting, and then find a spot where you can ask a question and then give the answer. Because I'm sure your readers will be asking questions in their head while they're reading your informational book. So here's another example. Maybe you could talk about, let's say you're writing about dogs and how you have to give dogs a bath. Maybe in that chapter, you can ask, how often do you give a dog a bath, right? How many baths does a dog need? Question mark. Or maybe you could say, dogs can get dirty, exclamation mark. So while you're telling your facts, think about where you can slip in some questions and some exclamations to make it sound a little more interesting. And that'll really make your book fun to read. Okay, boys and girls, good luck today.